I guess Tbull here. Today we're checking out the Seattle American Light Cruiser Tier 8. First time seeing that on this channel. There's the build. We got dispersion, we got concealment, and we got some anti-air built into the build. So Seattle, very powerful. Most of the American Light Cruisers are quite good, and Land of Fire Domination Mode will be the game we're checking out today. Now, played about 10 games on this thing, probably saved about 5 clips. A lot of high damage games, a lot of high XP games. Like all the American Light Cruisers, you can pump out a lot of damage in a short amount of time. So what we're going to do here is utilize island cover, especially early into the game. What we want to be doing, shooting without taking shots in return. If you're going to be taking shots into Seattle or these types of ships, you're usually not going to last very long. Now, good thing for us, Destroyer, number one, has the controller in his hand when the game starts. It's always a pleasant surprise, and he's moving forward here, potentially going to spot. So, getting up here on this island, and we can get pretty close to this thing, especially if we're shooting long range. The shots go quite high, so you can shoot over a lot of island structures, I should say, that a lot of ships would not be able to shoot over. So, AP left over from the last game, switch over to HE, and we're going to be using a lot of HE in this thing here. Now, I use the EOP perk on slot 4 with the commander build that increases the penetration. I think it goes up from, I want to say, 25 millimeters to 32. Cuts the damage down, cuts the fire chance way down. All right, so what are the consequences of that? Well, if you're able to increase the gun's penetration enough, you're going to be getting actual damage in situations where you wouldn't be getting damage. The shells would be shattering, but you might be setting more fire. So it's kind of a trade-off, but usually I would say if it makes sense on the ship you're on, boosting the ability to actually get that raw damage is better than simply relying on fire. Some games have better production, some games not. Fires, of course, are randomized, but that's, in general, you're going to do better with more consistent damage. Radar here, we only got 2 destroyers in this game. Daring moving in early. We want to make sure we go ahead and get him off when we got this radar here. Yamato that we were previously blasting kind of used the island to protect himself, but that means he cannot fully cover this guy. So we were a little aggressive there, pushed out. Wouldn't have wanted to necessarily do that if the Yamato was there, but then again, it's usually a good play, at least on paper, to trade a radar and a radar cruiser, for that matter, for the destroyer, especially in a low destroyer count game. Now we got to decide what we're going to do here. We want this destroyer to spot so we can evaluate the situation. Yamato beginning to leave, but what we're looking at is a situation where we're capturing A. Looks like we probably will be able to get it. They got B. Looks like the cruiser Kronstadt over there got B. And then C is where there's a fight going on. So ideally what we want to do is capture a flank, capture the middle, and then hold the middle. But if you can't clear your side, well, that makes it a lot more difficult, right? If we move over to B and then we start getting shot from the A position, or we all abandon A, well, they can just move in and flip that cap. So always kind of a difficult decision if the side isn't completely cleared. But what we like to do here is at least move towards the middle, right? We do have some guys pressuring over here. The Yamato that we're shooting at is kind of disengaging. So they're relieving the pressure on A by their movement, which means it's not as important for us to try and defend that. American Light Cruisers, as I conceptualize them, are very defensive in nature. I would say you can say they're kind of repulsive, right? You don't want to get closer to them, or generally players don't like to get close to them because they take a lot of damage. And you can see here, what are we in, 4 minutes, 4 minutes in the game, we got 62,000 damage already. So you can pile it on, no doubt about it. Yamato on the ropes here. We could stop, and we were considering stopping here and just utilizing this island once again to shoot for free, i.e. risk-free. No incoming damage chance for us, but he's going down. Torps get him out there, and we need to start thinking about moving into B. So if you look on the map, basically everything north and south of A and to the west of A clear, right? So now we begin to move horizontally and pressure the team this way, all right? Again, if they still had a ship to the south of A, that may influence the decision making. All right, so Kronstadt moving in here, and he's moving towards the island. Now, what I'm concerned about Kronstadt, of course, is a long-range radar, and there's a destroyer right by him. Right now, our advantage, and he's getting radared right here. Our advantage is we got an extra destroyer, or we did until a moment ago, but If we lose this guy, it could be a lot harder to win the game, capture the bases, spot the ships, everything we kind of need destroyer plays to do. So hopefully he can survive the radar, and in fact he will. But currently I'm saying, okay, if he's going to charge the destroyer, I might have to go due south, cut him off, try and hit him in the broadside with AP. But I'm looking on A. That battleship moving into A, and he'll have a crossfire right here in the Kronstadt. I'm saying to myself, okay, he's got a cruiser support, he's got the battleship at the crossfire shot. I can get on B, and if this guy plays defensively, tries to cling to the island or even turn back here, then we'll take him out that way. So we always want to be evaluating what's going on. That can change very rapidly, and your decision making needs to be able to change on a dime as well. So he's on the ropes. Destroyer could kill him with his guns. If he doesn't, we'll go ahead and kill him as we go into B. But now we're pressuring the Yamato, who's mainly focused on the side of the map that they already control, right? They have 5 ships, 6 ships even, attacking the side that they control, or, you could say they're defending it. But there's no real reason to be doing that. Right now they have the win condition in terms of scoring. They have the flank, they have the middle. Someone's got to be defending the middle. We just killed the Kronstadt a moment ago, who was the only one who could really reliably pressure B. So now we're going to move into the cap, attempt to flip it. How do we do that? Well, we got to find cover if we're getting spotted, and there's a destroyer on the loose, so it's definitely a good chance that we will be spotted, as we are now, by the guy. But we want to once again get close to another island. The American light cruisers and the American heavy cruisers, to be frank, are kind of born island huggers. They just want to be as close to the island as they can, protect themselves, allow them to deal the damage without taking a lot of incoming fire. So Yamato, maybe get one more shot here. We're going to try and dodge if he does. But once again, pressuring this island. And look on the map and on the left side of the screen when we zoom out. 2 more battleships. And we are getting targeted by 2 guys right now. So I do need to be cognizant of all the available threats. Shima pops up here as well. He shoots, trying to get a reset. Not a bad play as he's disengaging there. He drops spots, so that's a good reset on his part. And incoming shots. Not the Awami, but the guy in front of him. And we're just, again, trying to get towards this island here without getting sank. And since we're getting spotted and we're getting shot anyways, might as well start shooting. So we're going to try and get both of these guys some damage. Main juicy target. Lots of nice superstructure there. And we can pile on the damage. Up to 90,000. 7 minutes in, so just a little bit to go until halfway through the match. And the damage is definitely potentially there, right? We've been shooting mostly HE in this particular match. You can get AP in certain situations, like right now. We got the fire that's burning on this guy. We could take a couple AP shots, but, with this build, with the enhanced pen on these HE shells, the damage output in a lot of cases is going to be similar. So still experiment, because we got a really quick reload here. Take an AP shot or 2 just to see what the results are. But, keep an eye on it, switch actively. All right, so this is a little bit disconcerting here. We're back on the base, which we do need to get, right? We do have a few ships attacking here, but battleship preventing our movement. And in fact, he's kind of dropping anchors. So this is a very frustrating thing to happen. I would generally say battleships try and stay away from cruisers. In fact, try and stay away from your teammates in general. Sometimes it happens, yes. I don't have a claim or a flag planted in this position, so it's not necessarily mine, but right now I can't do anything. So he's kind of taken away a numerical advantage that we had, at least on paper. So we're trying to back up here. He does go forward finally. And if you're keeping an eye on what we're doing here, a lot of times we want to keep the middle of the ship behind the island, i.e. have the island blocking the middle of the ship. We can shoot the back guns even if the back of our ship shooting or sticking out, and we won't be spotted. So it's always the midpoint of the ship, and then it's kind of calculated by the highest point generally. So keep an eye on the spotting. Don't always worry about full salvos. If you can shoot safely using half your ship while you're still utilizing this huge DPM that the Seattle has, so you're still going to be putting out some high damage numbers. Awami pressuring, and again, we just kind of want to freeze these guys in place. This is what we're trying to do here. We want to rattle their cages, burn them to a crisp, make life uncomfortable for them. They're saying to themselves, ugh, if I push forward, this guy shoots me. I hate it. I'm going to stop where I'm doing, try and get behind cover, and stay alive for a bit longer. And that's what we're trying to do with this thing, right? Basically, for the rest of this game, all we have to do is defend B, right? We got A, we got B, now we got to defend B, and we're in a great position to do it. Land of Fire is one of those maps where to move from one side of the map, and in this case, the map's kind of divided by the island chain between B and C, and to a lesser extent between A and B. But to move between these different pieces of the map, there's choke points, right? So unless they're going to all come around at once, which they're not doing in this case, we can really, as a team, focus them down. Kind of goofy positioning. We do have everyone clumped up on B, but again, this is fine, right? The longer this persists, the bigger our background lead will be, and all we got to worry about is them rapidly killing ships. And again, if they're not pushing aggressively as they're displaying here, not a lot they can really do in terms of sinking a lot of ships. So no need to do anything crazy. Yeah, we want to keep the finger on the trigger. We want to keep the guns firing when they reload. So we're going to keep adjusting the position subtly. And that's a huge key to these cruisers, is really controlling the throttle. All right, and it takes a little bit of practice, but you want to be able to just nudge backward just a smidge, go forward just a smidge. If you get going too fast, that's going to take a while for you to stop. So kind of just, as we do here, just back up a little bit, then gun it forward to stop, or vice versa. All right, Yamato pushing back, or pushing forward rather. Again, just trying to pressure him. Okay, if you want to move into a lane that we have covered, you're going to suffer the consequences. All right, and that's just going to involve putting out a lot of damage towards them, burning them, frustrating them, and kind of, interfering with their game plan. Right, that's what we always want to be doing with these things. All right, they're both kind of attempting to spot me here. Again, we're just going to move forward. We're always looking for these kind of elbows in the topography, right? We got these high parts of the islands, and then there's a big dip, and then there's a low part. That's intentional. That's not just for aesthetics. That's the game designer saying these are pieces of the map that can be utilized to stay hidden and shoot over. All right, so always look for that for any type of ship, but especially for cruisers, and even more so for light cruisers. That's basically what we're trying to do. Keep those little low pieces of the land between us and the targets. They're not seeing us, we're seeing them. They're getting damage, we're not. All right, so we're looking good here. Game's not over. All right, we do have a lot more HP than them, but it's not over until it's over. But again, the 2 cap advantage, and we do have a destroyer all the way down south. In 3 minutes, can they kill 2 battleships, a destroyer that's way south, and me? Probably not. All right, so this is a good game clinching situation as long as everybody doesn't go haywire and start getting killed erratically. We got it wrapped up. So that's kind of how you want to be playing these light cruisers. Just kind of control the map, control the abilities of the enemy to push into you, right? And you control it by frustrating them and forcing them to kind of say, all right, I'm not moving forward anymore, or that guy's going to sink me pretty quickly. And that's what you want to do, control the map with these things. So Seattle, we'll see if we can get some more damage here. I do have another game this will probably show soon, another cracking game, but multiple 3,000 point games with this thing, multiple 150 plus damage games. I think this is the highest one that I've gotten so far in 10 games. But whatever the damage record on this thing is, I'm sure it's 200,000-300,000, somewhere in that range, because you can definitely wither everybody down if you can stay alive for the whole game. So that's a look at the Seattle for you guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up, new to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. Love to hear from you guys, and I'll see y'all later. All right, peace.